Okay, I'm going to look over some charts for the beginning of next week, starting with US Canadian dollar. This has been working out well since I latched onto it about a week, 2 weeks ago now, and it drifted sideways a bit, but now it looks like it's selling off finally. And the overall view on this is that we put in a Y high here, and with the divergence on the weekly chart, it's looking like it's going to kick off a long bearish trend for the next few months. Basically the same as Euro New Zealand. If you look at Euro New Zealand here, we had a divergent situation here and here, as I just marked on the other chart. And it's been running for months now. So I'm looking for the same thing basically to happen on US Canadian. Now from the high, I'm viewing this now as in wave 3 basically. Wave 1 here, wave 2, and basically looking at this as essentially a leading dagger for 1, small 2 in here, and now in a middle third down. So this should continue to sell off. So any bounces in this should find resistance, and over the next couple days and weeks, it should continue to sell off. Basically looking for overall a 5-wave move. If this current bearish count is correct, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and then a corrective bounce, and then another big move, just like Euro New Zealand. So that is the current view on this. No change overall. It took a few days to start to sell off, but it is going well now. So moving on to another pair. I'm not going to deal with many this time. I would just look over things that I'm interested in. I'm still looking for this to move higher. If a low has been made in Aussie New Zealand, it's not entirely clear. This is looking like another 3-wave gyration. So the view on this has not changed, basically. At the moment, given the kind of weekly hammer in there, I am looking for this to still move higher overall for a move ultimately above 114. It just has to be determined if that next swing has started yet. And I don't have a view on that. I mean, the channel here, there's no essential channel on this as such yet, but I am looking at this as a corrective move off of this. I've been over this many times. I don't want to repeat it, but it looks like for now, if this low can hold, it's looking like we have another upward swing to come. It may be in 3s overall. I mean, this is obviously a 3 from the low. So we're looking at some type of possible gyration like this that's corrective, something perhaps like 3, correction, 3, and then a turn lower possibly. Okay, Euro New Zealand did not correct at all off of this daily. I'm still looking for a slightly bigger correction on this, but ultimately, so long as this low holds, I can see this as a continued move up in 3 of 3s. So this does have the chance to run now towards 170. There's nothing really essentially to stop it, and this has been an excellent one. This has been the best one of the year by far. So hopefully see this continue, and then if the correction does appear, there'll be another chance to buy. Okay, a quick look at some dollar pairs. It looks like the US dollar overall is getting stuffed. Aussie US dollar, I'm not looking at a low in yet. I still like the idea in this pair that I've been working for one more gyration for E and another move down. And ultimately, if we break this low, I will be looking for it to then turn around and move higher. This is lagging euro dollar and cable, but ultimately I'm looking for this pair to turn higher. I still like the idea on the monthly that the stochastics here are hanging around the 80 line. I am looking for them ultimately to continue up and power up. So if we do see a break, I would look for a break of 71 to initiate and move higher in this one. I don't think it's there yet, but I am looking for it to come. Just to repeat the bit about the stochastics, in US Canadian dollar, I'm looking for the stochastics to roll over down and the opposite in Aussie US dollar on the monthly. In New Zealand US dollar, I don't think we've put in a low yet. At the moment, I haven't been following these closely. The only pairs that I really have a clear and strong view on are US Canadian, Aussie New Zealand, well, to some extent, Euro New Zealand, Bitcoin, and possibly some of the other Euro Canadian pairs. So I'm going to skip New Zealand US dollar and just have a quick look at the other Canadian dollar pairs. This one Euro Canadian has done enough now to put in a 5-wave high. So let's see if we can find that high and for it to turn over. The euro has been extremely strong in the past 4 weeks, 3 weeks or so. And ultimately, I'm looking for this to come in. It may put in some kind of ending pattern, like an ending diagonal. I'm not sure yet. There is a divergent situation coming on the daily here, but I don't think it's done enough. There's no bearish sign yet that it's finished. This week's candle closed within the wick of the candle 2 weeks ago, so it may be tiring out a bit. But the preferred view is to see it reach above the wick high of A and to turn over. So the bearish view hasn't changed on this. It just changed from a leading diagonal ultimately to a flat for 2. And then I'm looking for a major move down overall, like with US Canadian dollar. And I haven't had time lately to look over the other Canadian pairs. Still prefer the view here that this has another gyration to make, but so long as it... Actually, I'm not going to deal with that one right now. I'll look at that next weekend. But ultimately, Bitcoin, I think this will be... Just to deal with Bitcoin now, I had the target of 1800, and with passing that over, it's almost at 2000 now, 1986. So a bit higher still, and I'm still looking for this to taper out and to turn over not too long from now, because I think we put in a 5-wave move here, and ultimately I think this has done enough. It's blasting off like a 5th wave. The 5th waves are the largest, and so they're the strongest in this pair. It trades like a commodity. So if we can see this top out, it's trying to kill off the divergence on the weekly. Now if we can move into the 2000s and end that divergence, it can then set up a type of situation where ultimately moves up to somewhere in the 2000s, kills off the divergence, has a bigger correction, and then has the ultimate 5th wave move above 5,000 to 10,000 or some massive number like that. So if this situation, it's looking like it's, the divergence is looking like it's being killed off. So if that occurs, I'll go with the more bullish view for a correction in the 2000s and then a massive move, possibly up to 5 figures later. And wheat finally is, wheat's been in 2 minds essentially, but it's looking like it's trying to base overall. I had the ending diagonal view on this down towards into the 3s, but it's looking now like it's trying to find a bottom here at the low 4s and move up, because we have a kind of weekly bullish hammer. It hasn't broken out yet, but it's looking like it has the strength to do so next week. So if that occurs, then the fertilizer companies will probably turn too, because they all seem to be synchronized together against wheat. So I might make a separate video on that, because the overlays are pretty clear between those companies and the price of wheat overall. So I'm going to leave it there. The dollar's breaking down. The best pairs to trade at the moment are US Canadian. I still think Aussie New Zealand has a good chance to move up. And some of the other Canadian pairs look like they're turning over as well. So I'll go into more detail next week and with more pairs. And if you have any questions, let me know. And good luck to everyone. Okay, bye-bye.